Okay, we're back. So in this part, we're going to talk about how to light and texture this thing. But before we get into that, there's actually something I wanted to show you that I didn't show in the last tutorial, how to make this feel a little bit more organic. So right now we just have this, where is it at? Come on. So we've just got this blooming thing. It's moving, but it's not really like, it's kind of linear. It's not really doing, it's not really like waving around or anything like that. It doesn't really feel super organic. So something we want to do, let's go ahead and on this spiral, let's make this thing sort of wavy. So the first thing I want to do is put down a MOPS shape fall off. And I want to hit enter on the keyboard. Come on, why is that not showing up? Ugh. I don't know if you guys have experienced this. I upgraded to Houdini 20.5. It's awesome, except for the viewport is super buggy, constantly having to reset it for random shit. Okay, so we've got this. Let's preview the fall off. Let's rotate this minus 90 and put this at 1.15, something like that. So we got fall off at 1 here and 0 at the bottom. Then I want to put down a MOPS waveform. I don't know if you can hear my cat. He won't shut the hell up. All right, MOPS waveform. So let's go back to 0. MOPS waveform is great. It's a nice way to create sine waves. So we want to check on this MOPS fall off attribute. And then let's see, we want to make sure that we have the input output. We want p dot y. And the output, we want p dot x and p dot z. Okay. And let's see what that does. If we just click on this, does that do anything? Yep. So it's like super fast. I don't want that. I want the frequency. I also want it looks like it's going down. I want it to go up. So let's put minus 2.72. So now it goes the opposite direction. And let's bring the amplitude down to like 0.126, something like that. And the time scale, 0.18. So I just want this to be kind of just like slowly undulating. Great. So that's that. So now when we path deform this thing, oops. Yeah, cool. So it's working. So it's just going to make the spline sort of undulate. So you can kind of see this undulating a little bit. It's going to help it feel a little more organic. And I can't remember if I showed this in the last tutorial or not, but I'll show you here on the path deform under rotate. I want to check that on and put $F times 2. So it makes this thing kind of spin as it grows. So it'll feel a little more lifelike. So just kind of giving it some extra animation there. Okay, and the next thing we want to do, I really want this animation still feels like the growth of these things needs more ease on it. It needs to feel a little more like windy. So what we're going to do for that is we are going to put down a MOPS spring modifier. So MOPS spring modifier, and put that in there. And then everything disappears. So let's see. Is it working? I think MOPS spring modifier requires an ID attribute. So let's do that. Let's just put down a wrangle here and just go at ID equals at ptnum. And that should help it. There we go. Oh, and then the normals are all fucked up. So let's put down a normal. Cool. That should help. Or maybe we do it after. We'll whatever. Anyway, so right now, the MOPS spring modifier, this thing, it's great. It's basically like if it's basically a jiggle deformer if you're coming from Cinema 4D. But you can make it set, you can kind of lower the settings to make it really smooth, or you can make the settings higher to make it like really springy. So we're going to try and smooth this out. And the numbers that I found that worked are 0.059 in the spring constant and 0.722 under the damping coefficient. And that just makes the whole thing feel a lot more smooth. So let's put down a normal here. That should help. Okay, and then I want to put down a second spring modifier with slightly different settings. So mops spring modifier. And the settings I want on that one are 0.063 and 0.817. So one's going to be a little bit tighter. One kind of makes it like ease to a stop, and the other one is sort of a little jigglier. So it kind of feels like there's a little bit of wind or something. Okay, and then I'll file cache this so you can actually see what is happening. So let's go file cache, and yeah, let's just hit that save frame range. It's going to take just a little bit because these spring modifiers are actually a little simulation, so it just takes a second. So I'll pause this here. Okay, so we've got this cached now. So let me just kind of come in tight here so you can see what is happening, and I'll run a little flipbook so we can see. So you can see it kind of springs out a little bit. It's just a little bit smoother, just feels a little bit more organic. And it's also the spline that it's wrapping around is kind of waving a little bit. You've got the animation twisting. The whole thing just makes it feel a little bit more lifelike and organic without having to do any sort of like vellum simulation or anything like that. It's all just like mops, basically. So that is pretty much that. So let's move on to the texturing part of it. So let's kind of get to a nice frame. Let's get this whole thing out. Let's come up, set up a camera. Let's go to the view, change this to 1920, or let's do 1080 by 1920. And let's see, where am I? Where's my, I see. So I need to come out. And let's go up. Something like that. Let's just kind of get it in there in the frame. Okay, so we've got this. Let's, let's go back to object mark, set a quick mark by hitting Control-1. And then let's put down a RS sunlight. I typically, when I'm lighting flower scenes, I usually just use a sunlight because that's what flowers are lit with usually. You're outside, and it seems to work pretty well. So let's see. Cool, let's make sure my camera, under Redshift camera, we go to optical, change this to filmic. It's gonna give you a much better looking thing. Color correction, let's turn on tone mapping so that the highlights don't blow out. And then the sunlight, let's move the horizon height down. Something like that. And we can just kind of, for now, move this around until we find a nice composition or find something like that. Cool. All right, so let's go to our material context. Put down RS Material Builder, call this plant or whatever. We can simply just drag it on there and it will apply it. Great. So the first thing is let's start pulling in some of our masks. So we have some mask attributes. We have a mops fall off attribute. Let's do RS point attribute and change this to mask. And let's just see what that looks like. Plug it in there. Probably need to reset this. Yeah, so now you can see if we put down a ramp, you can see it working. So we've got control over shading something, just the tips, or just the bottom part, that kind of thing. Okay, let's plug this one. Let's put a mops fall off 2. Oops. Plug that in there. Need to reset it again. Cool. So now we've got this mops fall off that goes from the bottom up. And then I think we have another one called mops, just mops fall off, regular, which should be like the most recently born one. Let's see. Yep. So now we've got the tip. The ones that are born are just, or the ones that are just now growing are white. So we can make those ones be, the tip be a different color. Cool. So we've got some control here. We've also got the that like side shader thing we can use on the side if we want, but I think this will probably be good for now. So let's see here. Let's just try shading some stuff. So I want to use a texture. There's a texture I liked. I think I used, I wanted to get some like little lines in there. So I'll go up to my textures from Grayscale Gorilla, and I think it was in the Copy Machine one actually, and I think it was this fourth one, Copy Machine 4. So it kind of has these like lines on it, and I can adjust the scale of the UVs to make those tighter. So what I will do is I will put down a color composite, and let's try using this mask. Put this in here and plug this, plug this in the base color, see what that does. Cool, so we've got these lines on there. Let's set this to like multiply. So now the lines are not like where this part is, we can kind of subtract out the lines a bit. And then for the Copy Machine one, I want to scale this a bit. So let's put this at like 4 so that we have these like horizontal lines going across it, and like 0.83. Yeah, 0.3 something like that. Okay, great. So we've got that. Let's, yeah, I don't know. That's cool. Then, so I'm just kind of making this up as I go. So just trying to see what I can do, experiment with the masks I have to create different effects. Ooh, what the hell did I just do? Get back in there. Okay, so maybe I'll use this, for the base, I'll use this mops fall off 2 here and plug that, here. Let's remember to do this. And let's, instead of going black to white, let's try something cool. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Or maybe we do like a plasma, maybe make the tips more like green, and something like that, or I don't know. Make this like a bluish, and then this one can be like a purple, or like a really dark purple. I don't know, something like that. Just kind of making that up. That can be sort of the base, and then we can do like a color layer and plug this into the base color. And then we'll use this as our mask for layer 1 mask. And the color could be, I don't know, let's make it yellow. See if that does anything. Let's fire this back up. So yeah, now we have these sort of like yellow lines where this thing was, and we have full control over where those lines start. So we can make them kind of like towards the bottom there, something like that. Cool. I don't know, just messing around, seeing what I can do with what I have. Try green, black, red. I don't know, I think I kind of liked the yellow. Something like that. Cool. Great. Okay, and then what's this one? We can do another color layer here. We can do, let's enable it and then plug this into the layer 2 mask. And let's make this one like, I don't know, let's make it red. So this should be, oops, I see what I just did. I made that. I need this, instead of being black, it should be red. Okay, so now the tip, I have control here. So this stuff will be red when it comes out, or whatever color we want. So I don't know, maybe I'll make it something like I don't know, I kind of was like pink. Something like that, or like maybe a coral. Something cool. Okay, so it'll start as this coral color and then kind of go into green and then, yeah. Okay, and then we can also take this copy machine thing and let's make sure this is set to raw, by the way. There it is. And let's put down a bump map. Plug this in. Plug this into the bump. So now we have some bump there. Maybe we even just take this guy. Let's make this even like 6. And then bring this to like 0.2. I'm not sure if that's, yeah, you can kind of see some lines. Maybe that's too much, 0.02. That's a little better. Okay, let's maybe give it some, use this copy machine thing as like the rough, oops, shit. Plug, come on, stupid thing. Plug this into the roughness, something like that. And we can put a ramp down and adjust how rough we want it. Let's make this like a gray. Make this like a dark gray so it's not fully there. And I think this bump is still too strong. Let's go 0.005. That seems a little better. Maybe 0.002. Yeah, okay. And then something else I can do is I can give it a Fresnel. So let's put down a Fresnel. And for now, let's put this into the base color so we can see what we're doing. And let's make this turn off use index of refraction, put to like 3.3. So it kind of goes inwards a little more. And then we can do like a color mix. So let's take this guy, put it in there, and we'll use the Fresnel as the mix amount. And then we can change this to be whatever color we want. So let's make it like a bright yellow. And then so now it's kind of has this like yellowy, glowy thing there. And then finally, if we want to make the tips like a completely different color, so we can again take our mask attribute and just duplicate this ramp. And let's make some space here. Let's put down a color mix. Yeah, color mix. So then we'll use the ramp as the mix amount. And let's change this to like, just so I can see it. Let's make it red for now. And then we can take this ramp and we can mess around with it to where I think I want it to go the other way. No, something. I don't know. Something like that's kind of cool, right? So just try to make some like colorful, fun thing. You can play around with the colors, the masks, however you want. But I'm just kind of giving you an idea of like how you can use these masks to sort of color things differently. Okay, and then maybe let's give it some subsurface scattering to make it feel a little less plasticky, a little more plant-like. I mean, I'm not really going for realism here. Obviously, I like to just make things like kind of psychedelic and weird. So let's do like, where are we at? Subsurface. Let's do 0.34. And then let's change the scale down to like 0.005, something like that. And then the reflection color, let's plug this main thing into the MS color. Okay, and let's maybe even that's too much, 0.34. So all the way, a little less. I don't know, something like that's kind of cool. What else could I do? I think at the bump, maybe it's too strong still. Let's take this mask again. And finally, we'll whoops, shit. Maybe let's take this, see what this is doing. I think I want to take a ramp, plug it into the color composite here, and make a new little stream. And then let's go color mix, plug that here. And we'll use this copy machine mask again as the mix amount. And let's make it like black. And we can maybe adjust this to be, or maybe the opposite direction. Let's see. And I'll try to give it some like lines or something. Make it feel a little more apparent that there's something there. Yeah, I don't know, something like that's kind of cool. So that's pretty much it. I mean, all I did was just kind of play around with these masks. Take the attributes you have, the MOPS fall offs, the mask attributes, plug them into a ramp, and then use those to sort of adjust things to where, you know, you can adjust things along the height, along the Y height. You can change the tips to be different colors. Play around with the subsurface scattering, that sort of thing. And then I think all I did was I just put down like a grid, and let's come out here. Let's just go like that. Something like this. Actually, I think I parented it to the camera so that if I animate the camera, it goes up. Let's uniform scale this. And then let's come to the sunlight. Let's go to enable light mesh associations and just plug in bromeliad. That way the sun does not affect this grid. Let's put down a UV project. Cool. Make sure you initialize it to best plane. And then let's, on the grid, type /mat/BG for background. Let's go to our material context and put down RS material builder. Name it BG. And then we can just take a ramp and plug that into the base color and the base emission color, something like that. And then we can just adjust this. Is this doing anything? I probably need to reset it. There we go. So now you can see we have control over that. We can change this to be like the bottom part could be, I don't know, dark blue. And the top part could be, I don't know, light blue or something, I don't know. Let's try like a lighter blue, and let's bring this something like that. So you can kind of make this fun, abstract background here. Just try to find colors that help make this thing pop, basically. Okay, and then all I did over here was I just made another stream by transforming, and then I can grab both of these, merge them, and take this transformed one, and then just move it back, like way back. Oops, make sure that's plugged in here. Move this over. Let's maybe scale it up, bring it down. I'm just looking at my viewport on the left here. What is happening? Why is this so? Let's rotate it so it doesn't feel like quite the same. And then you can just time shift it. Oops, not time blend. Time shift it here. And you can just do like $F minus 20 so that it doesn't, they're growing at like different rates, minus 30, something like that. Cool. And then I just, kind of just do that again and again, and just so you have something in the background. And then all I do is in my camera, I go to optical, enable bokeh, enable legacy DOF techniques, and turn off this Houdini focus stop. And let's just set my focal point to this guy, and then just lower the aperture to like something really low. So this guy is really blurry. And then of course we'll need to adjust the exposure to compensate for that. Something like that, so that the focus is on the foreground. And that's pretty much all I did. I just kind of played around with the masks and the colors till I got a result that I liked. And then just sort of animate the camera upwards in Y to kind of follow the growth of this thing. But that's basically it. It's probably the simplest self-made flower you could make. There isn't really any vellum simulations. It's just tricky, some animation along the spline basically. So for the following tutorials, once I kind of get to making them, it's going to get a little bit more tricky, but I'm going to try to find a way to explain things in a really simple way, like always. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know if you have any questions.